overnight bank branch closures, supermarkets closing in the middle of the day, cities where the cost of rent triples. Yet paychecks get smaller. Something more profound is coming to light across the nation. Additionally, it is systemic rather than merely economic. Have you observed how quickly things are changing? Or how it appears that no one in authority has the answers? Why are billionaires increasing their foreign assets by twofold? What's causing big businesses to covertly relocate their headquarters outside of America? This isn't meant to incite terror. There is a pattern, a trend that suggests collapse. So, continue watching this video. Because these 10 warning indicators are not merely hypothetical. They are currently occurring. Number 5. Increased inflation reduces purchasing power. Prices for gas are rising once more. In 2 years, grocery expenditures have nearly doubled. And rent is increasing more quickly than most people's wages. This is the question, then. How long can a country endure in America when its people can no longer afford to live there? Inflation is more than simply a figure. The bleeding is gradual. While earnings remain constant, the cost of all necessities, food, fuel, shelter continues to advance. Families are having to decide between bills for medical care and supper. However, this is what nobody is saying. What does the future of the middle class hold if this is the new normal? Or for people who are currently making ends meet? What occurs when individuals stop spending because they just can't, not because they want to? Additionally, how long away is a full-blown economic fissure if the currency continues to decline? Is this the beginning of a collapse, or is it still inflation? Number 4. Fiscal stability is threatened by the nation's growing debt. Interest rates are skyrocketing. The government is taking out more loans in order to settle its existing debts. Additionally, the debt ceiling was been raised once more to more than $36 trillion US. How much longer can a nation print money before the system breaks down? The United States currently spends more money on interest than on infrastructure for education or care for veterans. That is harmful in addition to being unsustainable. What occurs if there is nothing left to borrow when the next emergency strikes? What would happen if global lenders stopped lending when the next crisis struck and there was nothing left to borrow? Is it possible that the dollar will no longer be the global reserve currency? And how quickly the economy would collapse if that occurred? Please make sure you subscribe before we proceed. With your aid, we can tell you more in-depth tales, insightful observations, and pressing issues that the mainstream overlooks. Because everything might be flattened if this debt bubble breaks, not just Wall Street. Number 3. Growing homelessness highlights shortcomings in the social safety net. Tent communities are emerging a few blocks away from opulent condominiums. Families with jobs who live in their automobiles. Children at shelters who are unsure of their whereabouts for the upcoming week. Homelessness is no longer a marginal issue in the United States. It is a mainstream catastrophe. Actually, according to the most recent federal figures, there are more than 770,000 homeless persons on any given night. That is the greatest amount ever noted. This is the question, then. This isn't just about addiction or mental health. It's also about increasing rents, stagnant earnings, and a housing market that is rigged for investors while pushing normal people to the curb. How did the wealthiest country in the world allow this to happen? This is where things start to get really concerning. There is a shortage of emergency shelter space across entire cities. California spends billions on homelessness alone these days. However, its streets are more congested than before. Why is the issue not getting better, but increasing worse? Are we seeing the middle class's gradual decline unfold in real time? And consider this: what occurs when people are on the verge of. Families that just have one paycheck begin to slip between the cracks as well. When a country can no longer house its citizens, will homelessness become a permanent aspect of American life, or are our systems prepared for that tidal wave? What does that indicate about its future? This dilemma isn't limited to housing. This is a warning. A society standing on a trap door is one that lacks a safety net. And after that door, The poorest people won't be the only ones who tumble through once that door opens. So consider this. Do you have a backup plan in case of a disaster? Millions of Americans already don't, and they're already suffering the price. Number 2, climate calamities that break records rack up expenses. Within an hour, entire communities were destroyed by fire. Overnight, roads changed to rivers. Insurance providers abandoning whole states. Because covering dwellings is just too dangerous these days. These aren't sequences from a disaster movie in Hollywood. They are currently occurring and getting worse all over America. This brings us to the actual query. How many billion-dollar catastrophes can a nation endure before its system fails? The figures are honest. The United States experienced 28 distinct climate disasters in only the past year, that each resulted in damages exceeding $1 billion. We're already on track to surpass that record this year. Hurricanes in previously unaffected areas, farmland is being strangled by droughts. Towns that believe themselves safe are being torn apart by tornadoes. What occurs when these calamities cease to occur seldom and instead occur on a monthly basis? The twist that no one wants to acknowledge the price is not solely expressed in monetary terms. It is quantified in terms of lives lost, families uprooted, and cities that never fully recover. Therefore, consider this. Would you be prepared if your town experienced a 2-week power outage, your grocery stores flooded, or your job vanished overnight due to severe weather? Would your government be prepared? The answer is no. There are too many demands on the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Local spending is dwindling. Additionally, homeowners are left holding the bag as insurance firms disappear. Rebuilding from the ground up or leaving completely. Before we proceed, click subscribe. Because this is the truth, it encourages us to continue researching stories like this one that others overlook. There isn't enough shouting about climate change. It is present and goes beyond environmental concerns. It is a time bomb for the economy. How long can we continue to disregard the expense before it becomes unaffordable? Number 1, deteriorating infrastructure. Undermines the ability to compete economically. Bridge collapses in the middle of rush hour. Because the tracks are too twisted to support weight, freight trains have been stopped for days. Because of the constant bursts of century-old pipes, entire cities are boiling. This is structural degradation rather than merely wear and tear, and it is affecting America at the most inconvenient time. Here is the crucial query. How can a 21st century economy be operated with infrastructure from the 19th century?